Hello, everyone. I am going to pull up comments really quick on my phone. Happy Friday. I hope everyone is doing well. Um, where am I going? You would think that after a few of these, we'd have it down pat, but nope. Yeah, I'm just going to pull up comments here. Give people a chance to join as well. There we go. Can I, and then mute myself on here? Okay, I have it pulled up so I can see comments. And yeah. Hi friends. Happy FriYAY. I am Kara McCann. I am the website designer and copywriter here at Create Captivate. And I am here today to talk to you about how to know which website platform is best for you. It is a question that we get a lot because there are so many different platforms that you can build a website on now. And it's not necessarily very straightforward. All of them are going to tell you that they are the best. So it's really hard to know what's actually going to make the most sense for your business, what some of the limitations are. It's something that I could go into extremely in depth, but I'm going to try to keep it fairly straightforward today. I even took notes today so that I can make sure to keep myself on track because I will go on a tangent real quick with this particular topic. So just to put it out there, a couple little things. The only three that I'm going to talk about today are WordPress and Squarespace and Shopify, because those are definitely the three most dominant platforms right now. There are other ones. There's Wix. There's ones that's on the GoDaddy builder. You can build a Google site. There's a lot of different types of platforms right now. But WordPress, Squarespace, and Shopify are absolutely the top three that people work with the most and are generally the most familiar with, even if you haven't personally worked with it yet. So those are the three I'm going to talk about. And the other thing that I want to say is that when we talk about WordPress, I'm talking about WordPress.org versus WordPress.com. It's a little bit tricky to explain, but WordPress.com is a little bit more akin to what Squarespace kind of is. Like, it's all self-hosted, it's kind of this all-in-one packaging, but there are a lot more limitations. WordPress.org is like the original home of WordPress. It's where all the open source software is, and it's what you're using. Like, if you're hosting your website through GoDaddy or Bluehost or something like that, and then you're connecting it to a WordPress site, then you're using WordPress.org. That's the simplest possible way I can think of to explain it. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about WordPress.com. I'm talking about using the big overarching WordPress.org kind of platform. So that's what I mean when I say WordPress. Ooh, 2 viewers. Who's on here? Who's watching? Anyone can say hi. Oh, hi, Monica. There we go. Hi. So, I guess I'll just dig in. So, the first thing I'm going to start with is just some of the attributes of each one. And that way you kind of know, like, if maybe it has something you're looking for. So, WordPress, I'll start with. It's the one that we use the most because the number one reason is because it is by far the most robust platform you're going to find out there. It is extremely customizable. You can do darn near anything on it. It can be scaled, so you can start with something very simple like just a single landing page, and you can scale it to be 50 pages eventually if you want to. It's very scalable, it's very robust. There's a ton of customization options. There are tons, like hundreds and hundreds of themes that you can pick from, so you can really find something that really is best for you and speaks to you. And there are plugins for everything. So one of the biggest differences about WordPress compared to some of the other ones is that a lot of the additional things that you're able to do are because of plugins. So that can be a benefit and a curse. Plugins are wonderful because they can solve almost any issue you have and allow you to do almost anything you want to do. But with plugins come updates, potential glitches, other companies that you're working with. Like, I know that a solid half of my job these days is tech support, like either being or contacting tech support. If something's within my skill set, then absolutely I handle it myself. or I just call up tech support and I say, hey, I haven't done this before. What am I looking at here? And with plugins, each plugin is designed. There are some like WordPress plugins or ones that are more native, to WordPress, but there are a lot that are developed by third-party developers and third-party companies. So those ones you're going to be dealing with the companies that create those. But like I said, it also creates a lot of opportunity to do almost anything that you could possibly want to do on a website. So those are kind of the nuts and bolts of WordPress. Squarespace, it's more compared to like that WordPress.com environment. It's self-hosted. So hosting, so we break that down just a little bit. Hosting is where your website lives, right? So your website exists, but it has to be hosted somewhere in order for it to be like pushed out onto the internet. So hosting, when you're with WordPress, you do have to have an external host, like I said, Bluehost or GoDaddy or something like that. Squarespace is self-hosted. So when you go ahead and sign up with them, you're already going to be hosted within the Squarespace environment, but with that comes limitations. So in the Squarespace environment, it's closed, right? It's this closed ecosystem. It's the Squarespace ecosystem. So you're not going to have all these third-party things that are feeding into your site like you could have on WordPress. Benefits, less potential hiccups and less third parties that you're going to have to deal with. If you need to deal with an issue, you're dealing with Squarespace itself, and not all these kind of outside, not your hosting company, not, with WordPress, you're rarely talking to WordPress support. You're talking to your hosting company's support, or you're talking to a plugin company's support. So I don't know that I've ever actually just contacted WordPress, because WordPress is just an area for creatives to feed into. I'm going to try not to get in the weeds there. I'm going to stop myself. Squarespace is this enclosed ecosystem, so when you need help, you're reaching out to Squarespace for help. So in some ways that can be a benefit. If you want something that's super straightforward, you don't have to dig into it too much, and you can just call one phone number and get all your problems, addressed for the most part. Then, sorry, I have a phantom hair, or an actual hair, ladies or guys with long hair, you know what I'm talking about. When a hair gets on the back of your shoulder, it just feels like there's a little bug there, and then you can't do anything else until it goes away. Yeah, it's that kind of Friday. So anyways, so it's all self-hosted. Squarespace is also purported to be easier for people to get started with. So WordPress can be a little bit more complicated to start using, just because there are so many different things, and it can be a little bit hard to know where to start with WordPress. Squarespace is pretty just like cut and dry. Here's your template, drag and drop. More limited template options. You're not going to have nearly as much customization as you could. It's going to be a little bit harder to manage large amounts of content as well, because it just wasn't really built for that. I mean, there are large websites that are on Squarespace, but the back end is not anywhere near as easy to navigate when you have large amounts of content like that. So yeah, so that's Squarespace. And then Shopify is kind of unique, and I actually debated whether I wanted, like, what kind of comparison I wanted to do here, because it may have been better to do just like a WordPress Squarespace comparison or a WordPress Shopify comparison. And I'll explain that in a minute, why my head was thinking that, because Shopify is, as its name implies, a shop site. So if you don't have some kind of e-commerce business, I think it'd be a little bit weird to use Shopify, because there's so much else you can do on these other platforms that, like, I can't really see why you would have Shopify if you didn't have an online store. I mean, maybe to display stuff, but like, you want to be able to sell stuff, right? So, so Shopify is a very powerful, really awesome online store platform. I think it is very powerful for really anyone who wants to be able to easily manage inventory. There's definitely plenty of areas on the back end where you can very easily add products, descriptions, barcodes, inventory, tracking it. All of that is very, very user-friendly, very intuitive. Getting it set up is pretty straightforward. Any kind of online store is going to be a little bit time-consuming, because you have to enter all of your products manually, but it's a really great Gosh, I'm so yawny today. I'm sorry, guys. I got up super early today. It's been a day. It's been a week in this house. So just bear with my yawns and know that I'm not bored. I'm just sleepy. Um, Anyways, so Shopify, they've got pre-made templates. One of the things that I really love is that it displays your store really beautifully on the front end without you really having to do anything. So, like if you go into the back end and you load a ton of products, and then you give them different categories, like say you have just like an apparel store, and you've got shirts, pants, jewelry, shoes, jackets, hats, etc. You can assign all those categories, and then you can just go onto one of your pages in Shopify, and you can select that that's the category you want displayed, and just it just populates it all beautifully, clean, nice little grid. You don't have to mess with layout. Nothing looks janky. It's really nice, assuming of course that you've got all your pictures in there that are good quality and the right size and all of that. But it really displays your stuff beautifully and cleanly and simply. And I'm a big fan of simple when it comes to especially online stores. There are some online stores that are very cluttered. It can be really hard to find what you want, and it makes you not want to shop. So you want something that's going to be really easy to manage. Shopify is another closed ecosystem. So just like Squarespace, where everything's going to be kind of dealt with within that Shopify environment. Oh my gosh, I'm just a mess today. I'm sorry. I'm gonna drink some water. Oh goodness. Hat tip to all you who are hanging out through this. Okay. So there's some really powerful built-in tools with Shopify. Again, like Squarespace, though, there is going to be limited customization options. So I'll say that the reason I was thinking about just doing Shopify versus WordPress is because those are the two most common places you will find an online store. An e-commerce company would almost definitely go to one of those two. You're either going to use something like WooCommerce on WordPress, or you're going to use Shopify and do your e-commerce store there. So I thought about doing a comparison there. But I thought about maybe just doing WordPress and Squarespace because those two are more common for like blogging or any kind of company page. If you have a service where you're not necessarily doing sales, but you are displaying services, those two are great platforms for that. So I would say if you were looking for e-commerce, you're really only looking between WordPress and Shopify. If you were looking for a company page or a service page where you're not actually making a sale, you are looking between Squarespace and WordPress. I hope that makes sense. So I wanted to also talk about some pricing because I know that price point is sometimes a factor. So WordPress, you're going to be looking at, it really depends on who you're hosting through and what your goals are for your website and how much traffic you think you're going to be getting and how long. I should have just injected some coffee before I started this. Goodness. Anyways, it really depends on how long you want to be hosting it, but typically hosting plans are going to run anywhere from like 10 or 12 bucks a month to $5 a month if you're going to be committing for a longer period of time. Hosting plans are not very expensive. Just depends on how big of a package you want to purchase at once. So that's what you're going to be looking at for WordPress. Other costs could be if you decide that you want to add like a paid theme. So not all themes on WordPress are free. So if you want something that's really customized and very unique and like just better than the free versions, then you're going to want to upgrade to a theme. There are also different kinds of, or upgrade to a paid theme. I always recommend paid themes for our clients because they just allow you to do so much more. If you're going to have a website, like why not invest the 30 to 60 bucks to have a really good theme on there that's going to be beautiful and again scalable. Our goal is to build a website that will grow with you, not one that you're going to need to replace in a year or 2 years. We want you to have something that can go the long haul if you don't want to touch it again for a while. So there are some kind of upfront costs there. Squarespace is a little bit pricier. It starts at $12 a month and then goes up from there just based on what you want. And then Shopify is definitely the most expensive. It's $29 a month. And I think that's also a starting price for them. It's $29 a month, but it is such a unique type of platform that I mean, there's still a lot of value in it, and if it's going to make your store more profitable in the long run, what's the upfront cost versus the return on investment? And there's almost always, I mean, you're going to get that $29 back, right? Like, that's the goal. Like, why have an online store if you're not making $29 a month? So, that's the goal. It's going to be that $29 a month, which hopefully you can very easily make up for by having this beautiful, clean online store. So, those are some of the layouts, and those are some of the platforms. Those are the top 3 that we work with. And I kind of did this already, but just to kind of compare. So if you come to me and so I'm trying to think about some of our clients that are on Shopify versus the ones that are on WordPress. So we have 2 specifically that I can think of that are on Shopify. One is a pet store that sells food and treats and supplies and all that kind of stuff. So we do have a pet store. And then there is also the Atlantic Wildfowl Heritage Museum, which a lot of you probably are aware of. We do their Shopify site. And so they have a gift shop, and we put their gift shop on Shopify and help manage all that content. And then the director over there actually maintains it all and uploads new inventory and all of that. So we kind of tag team that. So those 2 are very specifically shop sites. Now with Atlantic Wildfowl, their main website is built on WordPress. And I think they're a great example because they're an example of what you can do with a WordPress site and what you can do with a Shopify, because there's also the option where you don't have to pick just one, right? So we have a link to their shop on their WordPress site, but the WordPress site needed to be a lot more robust. They didn't just want a shop site that had some content about the museum. They wanted a museum site where then you could go to the gift shop. The gift shop is not the primary focus. The Atlantic Wildfowl Heritage Museum is the primary focus. So we have a whole website built talking about their heritage, their legacy, how it came to be, sponsorships, partnerships, ways that they're involved in the community, their blog, all of that is hosted on WordPress. But their gift shop, because it's a true shop and it can kind of operate as a separate entity, that's on Shopify. So does that make sense? You have your big robust site over on WordPress, and then you have just the shop over on Shopify. Now the pet store is only on Shopify, and that's because they are pretty much exclusively a shop. They don't have right now they don't have like a blog. They don't have there's not this whole big history behind it. So all of that can be contained within the Shopify environment. You can still have an about page. You can still have information about the company, and you can still customize things, but it doesn't need to be as robust or as built out. So we kept them really focused on having a shop. So those are the types of businesses there. We do also work with hi Shizuka. We do also work with a therapist, like a therapy group, and they're on Squarespace right now. It works for them. And they, we can list all their therapists, and they talk about the services they offer. So that's the type of site that you could have, just kind of a simple service site on Squarespace. A lot of alliteration there, so just roll with it. So those are the types of things. Those are the types of companies that we have on those sites. If, hey Casey, if those help you understand a little bit better, what types of sites can be on those different platforms. Again, if you have a shop, then your best bets are going to be WooCommerce through WordPress or an actual Shopify site if you're just a shop. And then if, sorry, I'm getting a call. Let me just decline that. And then if you are going to have any kind of service site, or if you're going to have a blog, then you can definitely decide between WordPress and Squarespace. So there are lots of options out there. I will cap this off by saying that we have had a lot of clients on different platforms who come to us after being on that platform for a while saying, I want to get my site moved over to WordPress. Whether they were on Wix and they want to go on WordPress, whether they were on Squarespace and they want to go on WordPress, whatever they were on, they always want to end up on WordPress. So WordPress is by far the most scalable. It's going to grow with you. You are never going to outgrow WordPress. So if you want something that will really last the long haul, that is definitely the place to be. So if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I always get back to this afterwards. And I do have a little teaser. This was episode 99 of FriYAY. super exciting. And I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning, but I forgot by the time I opened my computer, so there you go. But this is episode 99. And that means that next week is episode 100 of FriYAY. Episode 100, people. Get excited. So I hope you are all super excited. We have something really, really awesome planned. That's right, Casey. Woot woot, number 99. We have something really amazing planned. We are doing our first ever live streaming workshop. It's a masterclass on event promotion. We have almost our entire team. I think we have our whole team minus one, just because she's at grad school now and she can't join us. But yeah, we have our entire team joining us for this awesome masterclass. It's going to be all about event promotion, everything that you can do before, during, and after an event. And I do say after. I know we're talking about event promotion, but you can absolutely use footage from your event to promote future events. You can use it to talk about how cool the event was, to build interest in your company, in your brand. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff that we talk about. We're going to talk about videography and copywriting and web design and graphics and social media and motion graphics. We have our motion graphics girl joining us too, and obviously our chief chief unicorn, Casey, will be talking about overall strategy, and it's just going to be so much fun. We are offering an in-person option as well at BizConnect Hampton Roads. So if you want to join us live, we will also be doing a live Q&A. So as soon as I'm done on here, I am going to I might just edit the description and put it there. I might post it in the comments. I'll put it a couple places so it's really easy to find, but I'm going to drop a link to register. You will want to register. Registration is entirely free. This whole thing is totally free, but if you register, then you will be eligible to win one of the awesome 3 prizes that we are going to be giving away during our 100th episode. And then if you can't attend in person, we also, of course, have an online option. We will be live streaming. We will be taking questions from there as well. We're going to have all the technology set up. And if you can't make it at all, we have a question form so that you can go ahead and submit questions that you would like answered. If they don't get answered during the FriYAY, if they aren't asked by anyone else, if we don't, get to your question specifically, we will absolutely get to all the questions that we didn't get a chance to answer. We can email or call or whatever, but we will make sure to address your question. And we would love to see you guys there. So we hope to see some registrations. It would be so much fun to just have some beautiful faces down at BizConnect and to get to celebrate our awesome little milestone with you. So I will drop those links in the comments, and if I can, in the description as soon as I'm done. If you have any other questions about which platform might be best for you, you are welcome to drop it in the comments as well, or you can always shoot us an email. And yeah, that's it, people. I hope you have a lovely FriYAY. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys next week. Yeah? See you there.